Evening, listeners. This is Bless Radio. It's 6 p.m. UK time, and this is the Spiritual Discussion Program. I'm Saad in Southeast London, and with me is Gregory. Gregory, how are you, and how is the weather where you are?
One is well, weather is cloudy, drizzling.
Same here in London, drizzling as well, and cloudy. Welcome, listeners. As I said, this is a Spiritual Discussion Program. The aim of the show is to introduce you to the spiritual knowledge in the light of truth, the GRAIL message of the soul or spirit. And you can join in the discussion with any questions or comments by contacting us on our UK number, which is 07939 641 958. You can call, text or use WhatsApp. And if you're outside of UK, it is 004479 39 641 958. Again, you can call, text or use WhatsApp. I'm going to begin with what is the GRAIL message? The GRAIL message in the light of truth by Uprushing is a spiritual knowledge of life. It offers an explanation of the world, a picture of creation on the basis of natural laws. Its lectures contain valuable basic elements as a help in life, for through the knowledge mediated, the readers again brought closer to life and led back to God. The GRAIL message deals with important fundamental questions of life by explaining in a clear and logical way the automatic working of the laws of nature, the whole weaving of creation, allowing every process to be recognized and thereby the purpose of our whole life. It is directed at the individual and speaks to the innate experiences of the human being, their strengths and weaknesses. Thus, every reader has the opportunity to discover through the intuitive perception if what is stated is the truth. Combining with matter-of-fact reasoning, a complete world picture arises, where there is no separation between the visible world and the great world beyond the five senses, nor any separation between scientific and religious striving for knowledge. I'd like to give you a couple of quotes from the author of the GRAIL message, Uprushing. The hearer and reader of my lectures should always work within himself, keenly probing and building bridges from one lecture to the other, as well as out into the great and small world happenings. Only then will he be able to understand the GRAIL message and find that it gradually shapes itself into one complete whole without leaving any gaps. Again and again in all the happenings, the reader will come back to the basic features. He can explain everything without having to change even one single sentence. The word of the GRAIL message lives, so that it permits only those people who really carry the honest desire in their souls to find abundantly. All else is automatically rejected by it. For the arrogant and those who seek superficially, the message will remain the book with 7 seals. And I'd like to give you one more quote from the author. I wish to fill the gaps which have so far always remained unanswered in the souls of men. and which never leave any serious thinker in peace if he earnestly seeks for the truth. So, dear listeners, just to remind you, the topic for tonight is the inner longing of the soul or spirit. The inner longing of the soul or spirit. And you can join in the discussion with any questions or comments by contacting us on our UK number, which is 079 39 641 958. You can call, text, or use WhatsApp. And if you're outside of UK, it is 00444 79 39 641 958. Again, you can call, text, or use WhatsApp. Now, Gregory, you know I like to look in the dictionary for the meaning of the words, the key words in the topic for the discussion. So let's just repeat the topic tonight. It's the inner longing of the soul or spirit. And the first key word there is inner. So let's see what the dictionary says. It says the meaning of inner: situated inside or further in, internal. For example, they've given in the sentence here, or example here, an inner courtyard, or the inner thigh. And there's another meaning given also, so I think I'll just say that as well. Inner, another meaning of inner, mental or spiritual. An example of that is a test of inner strength. So, Gregory, this meaning of that I've given from the dictionary about the word inner, what can you say about them? Is it useful for our discussion for tonight?
The framework for the discussion is paramount. So we look at the parts. The word inner, when one considers the noun of it, in order to grasp it appropriately, one may use the opposite. That expression inner means not outside of the object. So whatever is not outside of the object, in the case of a noun, is inner. And one can also use another expression, the essence. The essence of it, of an object, is inner.
Okay, thank you for that. I'm just making a note of that. We can also look at the meaning of inner as not outside and also the essence. Okay. Yes, we'll explore it further. I'm just trying to sort of realize it myself, what you're saying. Okay, now the word inner there is referring to the second word, longing, the inner longing. So let's look at that word, longing. And here in the dictionary, it says a yearning desire. And again, they give an example there. Miranda felt a wistful longing for the old days. And another example they've given is a tale of love and longing. So, Gregory, what do you say about this definition of the word longing?
As usual, we find that it is descriptive. And that which is descriptive can only give a perspective of it. Whereas the picture which a longing presents is that of an inner attraction. What the inner attraction is has not been mentioned yet, but there is an attraction. That means something which either sucks one towards a particular thing or the other, or pushes one towards a particular thing or the other.
Okay. Thank you for that. I'm just again trying to absorb what you've said there. Inner attraction. Yeah, or sucks one into the other. Okay. Gregory, again, just before the show, I looked up this other word which is similar. You sometimes use this. They say stirring. Is something inner stirring, maybe I should say it that way, and which I thought was something similar to the word longing. So I'm just going to go, although it's not officially in the title topic. Sorry, I just want to look that up as well. So I looked up the word stirring, and it says an initial sign of activity, movement, or emotion. And again, they give the example, the first stirrings of anger. So can I just check, does stirring have anything to do with longing? Are they similar?
Stirring has a lot to do with a vibration. So one may use another expression, the inner vibration. So the stirring, something which is a stir, there must be a vibration which is associated with it.
Right. So it's almost like a side product or byproduct of the...
One is not quite sure, but when something is a stir, then there is that sensing of some inner vibration. If it's not a stir, that vibration is not there.
Right. Okay. I think we just keep reflecting on these words and move forward. Keep moving forward, and then hopefully things will just open up more. So, and I'm reluctantly, but I'm going to continue with the rest of the topic, the words in the topic, and then obviously want to go back into what is this inner longing that we are talking about tonight. So the next word, Gregory, in the dictionary, in the topic, is the word soul. And then I checked that word up in the dictionary, and it says the spiritual or immaterial part of a human being or animal regarded as immortal. I'm just going to stop on that one. Is that, again, a good definition there?
Picking from the contents of that definition, there is the emotion or emotions. There is also that which is immaterial. Therefore, that comes nearest to the description which the dictionary has given.
Right. Can I just clarify that? I hear what you say, but because the soul is, you could say, just I think maybe we have to clarify in our discussion tonight. All of this discussion is for basically talking about the human being. So yes, there may be animals who have also a soul. But tonight we are only talking about human beings, and so we're talking about the inner longing of the soul or spirit, meaning the human soul or spirit. Just to be clear, maybe I've only thought of it right now. Otherwise, we will be, let's say, going into other, let's say, too big a subject. So we just want to keep it about human beings. So now, Greg, I just want to go back to what you said about this word soul, which I read in the dictionary saying the spiritual or immaterial part of a human being regarded as immortal. I'm going to just ignore the animal part partner. So, and you said the key words there was or key points were there was emotion and immaterial. But what I want to clarify, Gregory, is the soul emotion and immaterial? Is that what? Because I was thinking it of as an entity. So just want to understand that, because emotion is not an entity, and neither is immaterial being an entity.
What one stressed that the definitions or descriptions given come nearest to it. That does not mean that one called...
You've gone on mute, Gregory.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm not to unmute and taken off. Yeah, the description was basically, when you mentioned it, emotion. So one is reflecting on the seat of emotions. And that seat of emotion, which is immaterial, it is the seat. When one is considering the seat, and then it is immaterial, so one can start picturing an embodiment of a spark or of an entity.
Okay, embodiment of an entity. I think we are building this picture slowly but surely, and there's a lot of concepts to be brought together. So we're getting there. Hopefully it will be clear for people, as we go through. Now,
May I just add?
Yes.
That this embodiment, of which is the spirit, which spirit is capable of awareness or consciousness.
Right. I'm just writing it down, what you're saying. Spirit is capable of awareness and consciousness.
Awareness or consciousness.
Or consciousness. Okay, I've written that down. Actually, we were going to come to the word spirit in a moment. So let me just still continue with the word soul. I gave you, Gregory, I know we sort of covered it in a way already, but I just want to go through it. So when I looked up the word soul, there were three meanings given to me in the dictionary. I'm just going to repeat the first one. We've said it already. A spiritual or immaterial part of a human being or animal regarded as immortal. And listeners, we've just decided we are not going to talk about animals in today's discussion. So yes, it can be animal, but here we are talking about the human being. Then the second meaning given was a person's moral or emotional nature or sense of identity. That is, that's the meaning given for soul is another one. And to give an example for that one, in the depths of her soul, she knew he would betray her. Gregory, could you say something about that definition there? I'm just going to repeat it first. A person's moral or emotional nature or sense of identity. And the example they've given, in the depths of her soul, she knew he would betray her.
The definition contains so many things that need unraveling.
Yes.
And if one is to go ahead and start unraveling so many things, it will cause confusion. Therefore, one is striving to take it in a step-by-step manner. For that which is referred to as the soul, of which the inner core of that embodiment, that inner core is spirit. However, what is referred to as the soul is the spirit with the different bodies attached to it other than that which is gross material.
Thank you for that explanation, Gregory. And we will explore it further in a moment. So, yes, I can see that the dictionary, we know it's not always helpful, the dictionary meaning, and we don't want to get confused, as you've pointed out, Gregory, by going into every single piece of definition. So we'll leave that for a moment now. I think I'm going to go to the word spirit. Let me do that. So spirit, it says in the dictionary, the non-physical part of a person, which is the seat of emotions and character, the soul, or they're calling it the soul now, the spirit is the soul. And they give an example, we seek a harmony between body and spirit. So let me repeat that, the meaning of the word spirit, the non-physical part of a person, which is the seat of emotions and character, the soul. So I think, yeah, Gregory, can you say something on that?
Again, you find if one is not careful, confusion will be precipitated because there was a discussion of the soul and then spirit, and now the spirit is quietly referred to as the soul. It becomes very confusing, and that was why the stress was on the step-by-step basis. Although it has already been answered when one mentioned that we have, on the one hand, the physical body, and on the other hand, that which makes use of the physical body, the inner core of the soul is of spirit, which spirit is capable of awareness, of consciousness. So that capability of being conscious, of being aware, these are characteristics, these are intrinsic features, intrinsic properties of the spirit.
Thank you again, Gregory, for your answers there. And I'm realizing that this is really quite a deep subject, and it's very easy to interchange the words soul and spirit, meaning as if they're both the same, mean the same, exactly the same. But in our discussion, that is not the case. They are separate, they are different. And let's say in the language, people normally use soul and spirit as if they're one and the same. But that's not the case for our discussion. So let's just be clear on that. When we're going to explore this further, this will become very clear. Now, just to repeat, Gregory, the topic for tonight is the inner longing of the soul or spirit. And I deliberately put soul. It could have been just the title, the inner longing of the spirit, or it could have been the inner longing of the soul. And I deliberately put both there because I wanted to talk about the soul and talk about the spirit, and in our discussion to realize they are two different things. And so now let me put another thing there, Gregory. The human being, let's say the real, can I call him him or her the living being? The real, what can I say? The one who decides or wills, is that the spirit, or is it the soul?
Could you repeat the question?
Yes. I want to ask you about what is the real human being, in the sense of who decides, and who makes the decisions. That's what I mean by deciding, obviously. And who is it, the spirit or the soul?
The spirit, the intrinsic feature or quality or characteristics of the spirit is the capability to choose, to make decisions. Therefore, it is the spirit that makes the decision.
Thank you for that. So now, I know I said the topic is the inner longing of the soul or spirit. From what you have said very clearly, or maybe I should, before I ask that, Gregory, has longing anything to do with making decisions? Just to be, I know it might sound easy to think of it as something totally different, but has longing anything to do with making decisions, Gregory?
Of course it has.
Right.
For when there is a longing, as if there is some sucking effect or some attractive effect, the cause of which one is not fully aware, it is possible for the person sensing that vibration to decide not to move along that particular direction. So since that possibility is there to decide not to or to move, it means therefore that longing, which is a pull, there must be some connection.
Thank you for that answer there, Gregory. So I'm just trying again to make sense of this. So we are saying the inner longing of the soul or spirit, but really it is the longing of the spirit. Just to connect, just to clarify one more point before I ask that, actually, Gregory. We know the spirit is making decision, and it is also longing. Does the soul have anything to do with making decision? Just want to be clear.
What is referred to as the soul is the human spirit with the different coverings that it has outside. All right, those different coverings minus the covering of the gross material physical body, which is perceptible using the five senses. That one can see is referred to as the soul. When you have a personality here on earth, that personality, the inner core, which is of spirit, uses or wears the physical body as a cloak. Once the physical body is discarded as at the time of so-called death, what remains are the other finer cloaks other than that of the physical body, which the inner core now makes use of. At that particular state, that entity, which is of spirit, with the covering other than that of the earth, is referred to as a soul.
Thank you for this picture there, Gregory. So we've pointed out about the spirit, let's say being the one who decides, you can say, and then everything else is a covering over the spirit. Like we have our physical body, for example, that's one. Then we have, as we go into the beyond, although we haven't mentioned it today, there's, you can call it the ethereal body. And then we have our soul body, if I can say it that way, to make it clear from what the spirit is, which is not a body, but the actual human being, the real core of the human being. I like to say it living, in a sense, so it distinguishes it from the other layers, which are just attached, you can say, to it. So, yeah. Before we continue any further, I'd just like to let the listeners know this is Bless Radio, and this is the Tuesday evening spiritual discussion program. The aim of the show is to introduce you to the spiritual knowledge in the light of truth, the GRAIL message by Uprushing. And if you're interested to know more about the GRAIL message or want to get a copy of the GRAIL message for yourself, you can go to this website, which is www.grailmessage.com. I'll spell that. www.grail, G-R-A-I-L, message, M-E-S-S-A-G-E.com. And this is the topic we're discussing tonight is the inner longing of the soul or spirit. The inner longing of the soul or spirit. You're welcome to join us with any questions or comments by contacting us on our UK number, which is 079 39 641 958. You can call, text, or use WhatsApp. And if you're outside of UK, it is 0044 79 39 641 958. Again, you can call, text, or use WhatsApp. And we're broadcasting on Bless Radio 1. That's the number 1.com. You can also listen to us on YouTube. Go to youtube.com and type in the search box Bless Radio 1, again the number 1, space, live stream. That's for the live show. You can listen to the recording of this show the next day, also on YouTube. Go to youtube.com and type in the search box Bless Radio 1, again the number 1 again, space, GRAIL message, space, the topic of the show, which tonight is the inner longing of the soul or spirit. And of course, you can listen to our previous shows also on YouTube. Thirdly, we are broadcasting on Zeno. That's ZENO.FM / Bless Radio 1. That's the number 1 again. Now, Gregory, we've slowly but surely defined what is the spirit, what is the soul, and also the inner longing. Or let's say we've gone a little bit into that. And maybe now we should really look at, what is this spiritual or soul longing? So I'm wondering, Gregory, is it, and we mentioned emotion, and we also mentioned we have a physical body, which you can say we are aware of our physical needs. On the earth, we are very much familiar with that. So And then there's also emotional needs. And I'm wondering, Gregory, sorry, I'm going to link so many things up now. We also said the spiritual is immortal or immaterial, if I think I remember right saying that. So, and I'm now wondering, the physical needs, we know they're temporary, so they're not immortal. And then I'm wondering about the emotional needs. For example, love, which is, it's a very, very fundamental for, well, not only humans, but everywhere, but let's focus on humans. So my question is, Gregory, when we're talking about spiritual longing, is it emotional longing? Is that what it means? Or emotion to do with emotional needs?
First, there is the need to clarify what that expression emotion is. What by that one is, what impression does that expression emotion, what does it convey? That means one must examine what that expression, emotion, stands for. That in itself is a noun, an object. Or at the same time, it could be considered as an activity. When considered as an activity, one can clearly see, or one can picture energies in motion, specific types of energy in motion. These activities, or the cloak of these activities, that is what is referred to as emotions. But these emotions, what are they? These must be activities which have come into existence through the stirring, the inner stirring of that which is capable of awareness, which is capable of consciousness. So it is the inner stirrings of this personality, or that which is spiritual. It is the spiritual stirrings that are referred to as emotions.
Thank you for that. I'm just going to sort of repeat what you said. The emotion is the inner stirrings of the motion. Sorry, I now forgot what I just said there. Greg, could you just repeat the last line you said, just to repeat that?
The emotions are the inner stirrings of the human spirit.
Okay, yes. The emotions are the inner stirrings of the human spirit. Okay, yes. And, okay, so just to be clear, how does that relate to the emotion being the inner stirrings of the spirit? How does that relate to longing? Is it something? Yeah, how does that relate to longing?
Once you have the scenario where the human personality which is the human spirit, stares, is a stare. That means it's into vigorous activity. In that particular scenario, it wishes or its volition is that of becoming conscious not only of its surrounding, but also subsequently striving to become self-conscious. In that particular scenario, it draws, it attracts energy. Which energy streams are already available to it? That attraction is a decision. So one can already see a picture of an inner stirring of the spirit, and in that stirring, energy streams is able to attract these energy streams, the various type of energy streams, which energy streams are to strengthen it, to enable it to become conscious, to be conscious of its wonderful surroundings, and also to become self-conscious. Self-conscious in the sense that it is able to grasp the love which makes it possible for it to be alive, and also the will which paves the way that enables it to become alive. So these two, the will and the love, and in the process of its inner stirring, it senses some attraction, or either it attracts or is being attracted. That is the longing that has arisen within it, and it wishes to continue to be astir in order to become more conscious and more self-conscious.
Thank you very much for this answer, Gregory. I think we are building the picture as we go now. I want to sort of think of like an example to allow us to see that, you could say, you know, for us to pick it up as a picture. So could you give something, Gregory, that we are longing for as an example, and and then like apply to what you have, so pick an example like a story or something, and then you can use your explanation to make sense of that example. So I don't know if you can do it like that. So I know something like longing for love or whatever, just any example you could give.
You yourself already cited a particular example, and that is the example either physically or one is drawn emotionally, or one may combine both of that being drawn emotionally, that being drawn physically, to what one may refer to as one being drawn intuitively along the path through which the human personality can accomplish that which it longs for. A very simple example would be that in the arts of music, where along the line there is an inner tune, which inner tune, the simple vibrations one must have perceived. But even at that state, the human personality is not fully aware or fully clarified as to what the tune is. Definitely, it will wish to know what this full tune is. And along the line, it is then drawn. It's as if it is being pushed from one place to the other in order to listen to different pieces of music to see if it can identify that tune it has had deep within itself. So you find people going for so-called gigs or to going somewhere to do some other thing. That could be one example. Another example could be that there is deep within the person the longing to be able to walk in the support of fellow human personality. That inner longing, once it sets out, in order to fulfill that longing, there is the need to walk with fellow human spirits. That may drive that particular personality to go into areas of healing. Healing in the form of that which is medical, healing in the form of that which is of pharmaceutical or of herbal. It is as if one perceives a calling to fulfill, to be of harmony with others in order to be able to attract not only the wisdom but also the knowledge and the love to enable it to fulfill or to accomplish that which it senses deep within it. So you find people just go because they wish to be of help to others, albeit in the medical field, they go and study something in pharmacy or in medicine. Whatever it could be, it must have a basis. It is that intuitive basis that has driven this particular personality to move from one place to the other in order to accomplish that which it senses, that inner longing that it has within it. So there are various examples that could be utilized, but each person, each listener is admonished to be able to picture that longing that drives the person from one place or the other. By one place of the earth and of the other, it could be movement from one place of the earth to another place of the earth. It could be a longing which lies deep within the spirit, which can only be accomplished when the soul has now left the physical body. It is this longing that paves the way for it.
Thank you again, Gregory, for your answer there and the picture you're painting. I will pick there in one example of longing for love. There can be, of course, many other um, longings like peace, happiness, um, sort of fulfillment. People are looking for that. As I say, peace and happiness there, and love. I wanted to just look at another, you could say, religious teaching, how they understand, what is their, I was using the word philosophy. In this case, I'm thinking of Buddhism, and I'm going to just read this picture there, or text that I found about Buddhism. Buddhism's beliefs include nothing is permanent, everything is related, suffering and rebirth are part of existence, enlightenment is the goal, and morality, meditation and wisdom are the means. Buddhists do not believe in a god, but there are supernatural figures. Buddhists should live by 5 moral teachings: practice generosity, compassion, kindness, and patience. Rebirth, and I just want to add there that some Buddhists, they don't say that there is no God. It's just it's like not clear for them. So I don't want to make this an absolute statement. What I'm reading out is just one statement. Some people have said that's what it means. So I'm just going to carry on. Rebirth or reincarnation is the cycle of death and birth until the soul is cleansed. And nirvana, the state to which all Buddhists aspire, is the cessation of desire and hence the end of suffering. Nirvana in Sanskrit means quenching or blowing out. It is understood as the extinguishment of the flame of personal desire, the quenching of the fire of life. It is the ultimate spiritual goal in Buddhism, salvation, release from rebirths. And again it says nirvana means blowing out or quenching, as in extinguishing a candle. To achieve this, a Buddhist must eliminate all desire, positive, negative, physical, mental, and emotional. More specifically, greed, aversion, which is hatred, and ignorance, which somebody put as delusion. These are 3 fires that need to be put out. So I'm going to try and summarize that, Gregory. So somehow in Buddhism, they think that the idea is of the human being to extinguish desire. That's the way I see what they're saying. All desire, whether it's positive, negative, it doesn't matter. To remove all desire. And that leads to the end of the rebirth, and the soul is then cleansed. This is what they wish to achieve. And of course it's doing good, well, I would say living a good life through living good, with, because of noble qualities. So the main question on that, Gregory, is that right, that the aim of our human life is to to quench the end of, let me just get this clear, cessation of desire. That's right.
When you yourself read out these teachings, you refer to them as the beliefs of the teaching of Buddhism. Belief is different from knowledge. Knowledge may only come through experiencing. experiencing not only using the physical senses available to man here on earth, not only using also one's thoughts, but also using one's intuitions. So these are three basic. The intuition, the thoughts of man, and the physical deeds. These three different categories are the tools that the human personality must use here on earth to experience. That means to weigh and examine. Belief is only basically that which is observed. However, one's observation of an object, that does not give one the inner ability, clarification of a personal conviction. Therefore, the beliefs you yourself read out are only the first step. Which first steps are only superficial. Were they to have examined further, not only in deeds, not only in thoughts, but also in their intuitions, then many a statement which have been constructed will be altered. You yourself hinted, they really do not believe in the Almighty. But at the same time, they know that in the experiencing, or wrongly, they believe in the experiencing of the human personality, which experiencing is only in belief, that energy, that power is used. The question each human personality must ask themselves, where comes or from whence came this power which is utilized for human activities in deeds, which is utilized for human activities in thoughts, and also utilized in one's intuition. From where have these streams of power arisen? That could be one question. The second question will then be, these desires that they themselves have observed, what constitutes these desires? What lies behind these desires? Are there anything to be cultivated in an arbitrary manner? If the flows of power and energy are not arbitrary, but are strictly well structured, then the well structuredness and the well connectedness of these powers form the basis, which bases are irreducible. That is, these structures, these connections put together form the laws. For these activities are always in motion. Therefore, you have emotions. Since motion is an absolute law in creation, changes only come about through motion. And therefore, motion is a law in creation. That being the case, it is possible to examine what this motion is, to come to know the laws through which these energies, this power flow. These laws which are within a particular container, which one may refer to as creation. So the thoughts of the Buddhists, which are referred to as beliefs, do not really hold because they themselves have not examined that which they refer to as desire. For what they may be referring, which is only a guess, to as desires, are the decisions which many a personality make without due consideration to the laws through which this personality has come into existence, the laws through which this personality has not only arisen in creation, but has come to consciousness and subsequently will become self-conscious. So, as these laws are examined, then that which is referred to as a desire, which will not permit the human personality to experience, such as to become fully aware as to the reciprocal activity that will strike it if it does not conform to the laws that permitted it into creation. Once these are eliminated, then desiring as viewed by the human personality will vanish. That will be what they are referring to. For what the human personality needed is to strive in such a way to cultivate those talents which have been hewn into it, which have been sown into it, to cultivate these talents and let them come to fruition. These talents basically are the virtues which have been sown into it. Only when these talents grow and come to fruition in accordance with the laws of nature, of creation, only then are they able to come to a maturity which allows them or which permits them to move back to their point of origin from whence they are able to live eternally, joyfully, filled with happiness. That is what they themselves may be referring to as nirvana.
Thank you so much, Gregory, for your answer there. What I can see, you can say life is a journey, and you watch a baby, and a child growing, and they make mistakes, and as you say, we become, over time, we're supposed to become more mature, and then as you become more mature, you don't make, so let's say you make less mistakes, so you know what you're doing a bit more. So initially you may desire this, you may desire that. Not even saying anything is good or bad, just the desire this and desire that. And as you mature, you realize, oh, I'm desiring maybe earthly things a lot, but it's not something that special really. And you realize something they are more important than these material things, and so you lose that desire for those, you could say, material things. And you just, because we are talking about the inner longing of the spirit. And we started as an unconscious spirit, and like a baby, you think of it as a baby, and then you do this, you try that, and through your experiencing you say, okay, that's not really the big important thing. And as you grow, you realize what is more important, and then you drop those things which are not so important. And maybe what the Buddhists are trying to tell us is that at the end you realize, well, that they are going as far as to say there will be no desire, that will be the end goal. You won't want anything. And then that will be the end of this cycle of birth and rebirth as well. That's what they're pointing to. But I'm seeing it as really is the more mature you're becoming, you leave behind those things, and I don't think you ever lose your desire. You just grow. Yeah. We'll go on and talk about this a bit more in a moment. But thank you for your answer there, Gregory. I just want to let the listeners know you're listening to Bless Radio. It's the Tuesday evening spiritual discussion program from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. UK time. The aim of the show is to introduce you to the spiritual knowledge in the light of truth, the GRAIL message by Aprushin. And if you're interested to know more about the GRAIL message or want to get a copy of the GRAIL message for yourself, you can go to this website, which is www.grailmessage.com. I'll spell that, www.grail, G-R-A-I-L, message, MESSAGE.com. And the topic we're discussing tonight is the inner longing of the soul or spirit. You are welcome to join us with any questions or comments by contacting us on our UK number, which is 07939641958. You can call, text or use WhatsApp. And if you're outside of UK, it is 00447939641958. Again, you can call, text or use WhatsApp. And we are broadcasting on Bless Radio 1, the number 1.com. Also, you can listen to us on YouTube. Go to youtube.com and type in the search box Bless Radio 1, that's the number 1 again, space live stream. That's for the live show. You can listen to the recording of this show the next day also on YouTube. Go to youtube.com and type in the search box Bless Radio 1, that's the number 1 again, space GRAIL Message, space the topic of the show, which tonight is the inner longing of the soul or spirit. And of course, you can listen to our other shows in the past also on YouTube. Thirdly, you can listen to us on Zeno, that is zeno.fm/Bless Radio 1. Again, the number 1 there. So, Gregory, we're talking about the longing of this, the inner longing of the soul or spirit, which is really the spirit, we are saying, the human spirit. And now, and the longing can be, about anything in a way, but let's say the longing is, well, first you can say it's always something noble that we are talking about in our, in this, especially what we're talking now, the inner longing. Let me just check with you, Gregory. Can you have a longing which is evil?
For such as you yourself just mentioned, it must have been that it is counter that which is noble. So it must be something which is ignoble. For such to occur, the personality whose inner core is of spirit would have sunk to such an extent that it is unable to distinguish that which is noble from which it, the human personality or the human seed grain, was created. So it is possible for those who have sunk so low, who have a longing to, say, for vengeance, for vendetta, for that is what consumes them, that is what drives them in their activities. Such longing produces, the effect of such longing produces the war for destruction, for annihilation, such as what you have found in the so-called world wars, or even currently in the wars which abound. So it is not only wars as such, which you find one nation against the other. You also have the case where the inner personality has built so much hatred deep within it, and it becomes like a longing, which then drives it to commit acts of violence, which many cannot even grasp.
Thank you for that, Gregory. That question just came out of the blue, but I just thought I'd better, talk about it. Now, we started with longing for love, and then we talked about peace. Well, we just mentioned peace and happiness there. Now, all our longing, Gregory, we've been talking about, it's always sort of sounds something beyond the earth. But I want to just check. What about, surely what I'm saying basically, Gregory, are this inner longing? Is it really like ultimate happiness, ultimate peace? It's not really feasible on the earth, it seems. So can we have
everything?
Yeah.
There must be a starting point. The end point may not be here on earth, but could be at a point or maybe back home when one has become self-conscious, back home in the paradise of man. But there is always a starting place, a starting point in the accomplishment, in the fulfillment of this longing. So something may start here, but will not be completed until one is back home.
Thank you for that, Gregory. And now I think I will bring up this point, Gregory. In the Bible is John chapter 5, verse 24, where Jesus says, "Very truly I tell you, whoever hears my word and believes him who sent me has eternal life and will not be judged, but has crossed over from death to life." So, okay, I'm going to put it this way, Gregory. Are we looking, is that what we are looking for? Eternal life? Are we longing for that? I just want to, maybe I just go back a little bit, Gregory, before we go into it deeply. We just talked about something happening on the earth and something happening beyond the earth. And this, you could say, and then we know beyond the earth is well, maybe we don't know, but it can be, there is eternity there. But on the earth, we know everything is temporary. And so, and I think we sort of pointed to or hinted a little bit that, yes, we can have happiness on the earth and peace and love on the earth as well. And it's like, I think you said, is it a starting point, Gregory, or a step? I didn't quite remember what you said.
A starting point.
A starting point. So it's like we are practicing, on the earth to, have this happiness and peace and love. And then the big gift, or the big, you could say the the big gift is to have it eternally, which would be in paradise, as you said there, Gregory, or let's say even heaven. So let me just now repeat. Now I'm going to bring this in, which is from John, I just read it out already. John chapter 5, verse 24, which Jesus says, "Very truly I tell you, whoever hears my word and believes him who sent me has eternal life and will not be judged, but has crossed over from death to life." So, Gregory, is there that inner longing for eternity then? Is that what it is that we have within us? And why I want to say that, Gregory, maybe it's unconscious inside us.
Have you finished?
Yes.
When you consider what Christ said, it becomes self-evident that every concept, like he just did, he painted, every concept paints a picture. Every picture is a pointer. That pointer to that which is alive. that which is alive, which is in accordance with the laws of creation, will be that power which, or through which, when absorbed aright, activates, grounds movement, grounds motion to him or her who has paved the way deep within themselves. Belief is the first step. But it doesn't end there. Belief now leads to conviction through inflexible weighing and examining. Only that motion of inflexible weighing and examining, only that will lead to conviction. In that process, the spirit becomes austere. In becoming austere, there is deep within the spirit an attraction. The spirit is then attracted to its homogeneous species. Therein lies the laws of the attraction of homogeneity. Being attracted away from the world of matter, from where the initial step was taken as a belief, but through further activities, it therefore matures, and in that process, there is the sucking effect, attracting it to its homogeneity, and finally arriving in paradise as a self-conscious human personality. Only when you have the scenario of a self-conscious humanity or a self-conscious personality, that becomes eternal life. If, however, the personality does not strive in accordance with what Christ has said, if he or she doesn't do it accordingly, intuitively, in his thoughts or her thoughts, in his activities or her activities, the possibility is there that due to lack of personal examination, due to lack of being austere intuitively, which means the human spirit is not austere enough as to generate enough heat, it might as well go back to paradise, but this time, because of the lack of activities which generate heat, it goes back in the way, in the same state from whence it has set off from the paradise of man. That, in that case, it reverts to unconsciousness. That was where it started from as a spirit seed grain. Therefore, that particular scenario, the effort made in making preparations for this human personality to come to live paradise, come as far as the world of matter, in order to gradually to live, to experience, and become warm and hot enough to return home, is unable to do that, and it goes back as an unconscious spirit gem. Then all efforts have been in vain. That is what Christ was referring to, saying only when the human personality makes the necessary efforts to first start from belief and let it come to conviction, to start from that state of unconsciousness and move to a state of consciousness and then become self-conscious. Only that is of use. Else, going back to paradise or returning to paradise as an unconscious spirit seed grain has been a complete waste of energy, of time.
Thank you so much, Gregory, for your answer there. When well, really the picture you're showing to us, and what I'm seeing is that we, as you say, we go step by step, and you don't. It's not in one day you achieve your goal. I mean, that's obvious, but the journey is quite okay. How can I say? I was going to use the word like a mystery, because we don't really know. As you say, we start unconscious, and the aim is to become conscious and then self-conscious. So it's quite a step, to how can I say, awaken ourselves to, especially when you don't know that. When you're at the beginning, you don't know that, and just believing, as you said, doesn't help, because, well, it's only a step. It's not really enough to really come to realize, what our goal is or what we're trying to achieve. So this longing, we're talking about the inner longing of the soul or spirit. Let me, I will say it now, actually. So, Gregory, is this journey of the, from becoming unconscious to the conscious and ending up, well, you actually say it's returning back to our spiritual home. Is that journey, can I say, I know we're supposed to become aware as we go, but is that like pre-programmed, if I can say like that, within us, or so like, do we have our natural ability to, just like you say, you plant a seed, in the past you plant a seed and it turns into flower and makes fruit and whatever that happens to be, and it all happens, you could say, yes, human intervention might be there, but it happens like quite naturally, the whole process. So with the human spirit, Gregory, is it the same process, or is it, because we mentioned we have, as human beings, have a free will, so it's like you can go here, there, everywhere. So not like, so what I'm basically asking is the whole process for the human being preset within us, or is it just whatever we choose, that's where we go? It's I know I'm not being as clear as I'd like. Yeah, if I want to compare basically what happens to plants with the human beings, from they start at the seed and then they grow into their fruit. But it's like there's a set way for them, and it's always like that set way, and it's quite clear, their journey. With the human beings, it seems to be a more complex process, and I'm wondering, is it all within the path is already set for us, or is it more, how can I say, free for a human being? I hope I can make sense you understood what I'm saying.
The case of, or the scenario of the plants you mentioned, that is set in the sense that the innate abilities are put there. There is no doubt about that. Plants, however, do not have a free will, such as you and I and others who are human personalities have. So, in the case of the human personality, the choice is there to develop or not to develop in accordance with the laws of creation. It is the free will that distinguishes the human personality, the human being, from the non-human beings in this part of creation, the world of matter. That free will is there. And therefore, man, having a free will, is subject to the returns to which it, the human personality, has initiated. Just as you are free to move from one place to the other, to move from one state to the other state, the path which you follow, you yourself will have to experience all that lies in that path. Because you yourself are free to decide how you wish to proceed. That is the difference which is undeniable.
Thank you so much, Gregory, for this answer there. And I've got more questions to ask in a moment. Before I do that, I just want to let the listeners know that you're listening to Bless Radio. It's the Tuesday evening spiritual discussion program from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. UK time. The aim of the show is to introduce you to the spiritual knowledge in the light of truth, the GRAIL message, by Abdushin. If you are interested to know more about the GRAIL message or want to get a copy of the GRAIL message for yourself, you can go to this website, which is www.grailmessage.com. I'll spell that. www.grail, G-R-A-I-L, message, MESSAGE.com. And the topic we're discussing tonight is the inner longing of the soul or spirit. I'm just repeat that, the inner longing of the soul or spirit. And you can join in the discussion with any questions or comments by contacting us on our UK number, which is 079 39 641 958. You can call, text or use WhatsApp. And if you're outside of UK, it is 0044 79 39 641 958. Again, you can call, text or use WhatsApp. And we are broadcasting on Bless Radio 1, that's the number 1.com. You can also listen to us on YouTube. Go to youtube.com and type in the search box Bless Radio 1, the number 1 again, space, live stream. That's for the live show. You can listen to the recording of this show also on YouTube the next day. Just go to youtube.com and type in the search box Bless Radio 1, again the number 1 there, space, GRAIL Message, space, the topic of the show, which tonight is the inner longing of the soul or spirit. And of course, you can listen to the recording of our previous shows also on YouTube. Thirdly, we are broadcasting on Zeno. That's ZENO .fm / Bless Radio 1, the number 1 again. Now, Gregory, one thing we know, the human being has free will. So, that means there's always, you could say, a danger of getting lost. And, with this, in our journey. So, with the plant, we know that it doesn't have free will, just there's a set way and it does it. And also animals, although we haven't talked so much about animals this time, although, Gregory, I always find it hard to think how come the animal doesn't have any free will, because they do, wander around and, they must have something that allows them to, go hither and thither. But why? Yeah, I just want to understand it actually with the animal. How can we say they don't have any free will? Because they do go hither and thither, and when you see that, you think, well, they must be deciding to go there or here or there. So, how does it make sense that they don't have the free will there?
Actually, in fixing the discussion for today, the selection was restricted to that of human personalities. And one had to tailor responses to fit that, so that there is not much distraction.
Right. Okay.
However,
yeah. Okay. I was going to say, shall we? Yeah.
There has been a mention of animals not having free will. The need is there briefly to make mention of that which man is, that the inner core of man is of spirit, and that inner core is imbued with the gift of the free will. The animal has a soul that guides it. It is not of spirit. Therefore, it is not granted the free will, which free will, like the intuition which man has, is able to decide that it is responsible for what it has done. Here on earth, you find that you will have that a human personality can be dragged to court to explain itself why it made a specific decision. You do not drive a dog or an animal to court and take it to court to explain why it has made a specific decision. That never happens, which means that you do respect, albeit intuitively, that the dog or the animal has no free will, but is guided by an inner core which grounds it or leads it to what it needs in order to survive. More of the details that brings clarification can be found in the work In the Light of Truth, the GRAIL message of Abdushin.
Thank you for that. Sorry, I apologize for the diversion. Let me go back to the key issue of human beings and their and their longing. And where I actually wanted to go to, and I got diverted, was about going astray. And one of the reasons, Gregory, we might be going astray is maybe we suppress our spirit. And you mentioned earlier about belief, which is just a step, to there's, you have a belief, but that's not really enough to, become conscious or self-conscious. You still have to experience, and to really see life for the reality that it actually is. So you're not, how can I say, restricted by belief. But what about, is there other things that are suppressing the longing of the soul? Yes.
What may, in quotes, suppress the soul could be indolence. That means it is not suppressed as such by others, but due to lack of sufficient alertness, due to lack of sufficient steering deep within it. It's as if it is asleep. So it's not that it's suppressed, but it tends towards inactiveness. That is a hindrance to self-development. By self, one is referring to the inner core, that is of spirit. So instead of being out there to experience and being able to differentiate that which is of benefit from that which is not of benefit, if, however, it remains in the same spot without exerting itself, that itself is indolence of the spirit. And there are other things. Once you have indolence of the spirit, like we had mentioned, there is also the seat of one's thoughts. The seat of one's thoughts is the frontal brain. So the thoughts may be strengthened in such a way that one's intuitions are unable to strike that decisive impressions which removes all doubts, because the frontal brain is fully astir. All decisions are now left within the confines of the frontal brain. That means the spirit, the influence of the spirit on the physical deeds of man are grossly reduced. That it itself is a hindrance.
Thank you very much for that, Gregory. Another thing I was thinking about that could be hindrance, actually, like people get sometimes addictions for drinking, smoking. I know these are earthly activities, and then that can also suppress maybe your spiritual longing, because your longing is now for earthly things, material things, as they say. And so you could get diverted into other, your longing could be diverted, as I said, yes, into other things like earthly things, and then you're no longer seeking the eternal life, as as I was calling it earlier on, you know.
Such diversions are only possible when there is the insufficiency of the activities of the Spirit. That is the only scenario where such diversions are possible. For a spirit that is fully active, it will not accept that which is piecework, as such as the one you mentioned, say like drinking or whatever. It knows or it senses there is a limit to it, and it senses that it is temporal, whereas that which the Spirit seeks is that which is not temporal as such, but that which can be used not only here on earth, but also away from the sphere of gross material.
Thank you for that answer there, Gregory. I'm now thinking another thing just now. You said, as you say, if you are directing your longing for spiritual things, then, and that is your focus, then of course, if you practice that, that's where you're going to be attracted towards. Another thing I was thinking then, Gregory, what about the longing to connect with God? I mean, some people may not know about God or not think about God, but is that the highest or the ultimate longing, to connect with God? And that way you're pulled, you use the word attracted and pulled. Maybe if that is your number one focus, then that will pull you to the actual fulfillment of what we are meant to be.
In one's longing, the streams of power in nature, in creation, these streams help the human personality to become stronger and stronger. In that particular scenario, it's as if the human personality is being sucked up or is being drawn up. Subsequently, if its activities is along that direction, it will arrive home subsequently as a self-conscious human personality. Once it has arrived home, the paradise of man, there it's able to walk eternally. And subsequently, it becomes clear to it that these streams of power have arisen from on high. And in further activities and worship, by worship, one is referring to the appreciation of these streams of power coming from on high, and using these streams of power, applying it in accordance with the will or with the laws of creation. It becomes clear to it in all certainty that there is a source, which source permits these streams of power to flow in creation. And in gratitude for that, it opens itself to be able to continue or to be permitted to continue to experience these perpetual joys and perpetual happiness. That in itself is worship, and that in itself is drawing close to the source of all power. For it is now contented that this is how far it can go. Above that, it cannot go, but it only has a sensing. And where it has this sensing and the strong stirring to fulfill, to be able to do things happily, for it receives joys and happiness in making use of that which is granted it, it seeks nothing further. And therefore, it has arrived home, safe and dry. And it is now perpetual gratitude in its activities.
Thank you for this answer there, Gregory. Maybe, we've talked about it before, connecting with nature. That would be also a way to sort of bring your focus to, I was going to say live aright, but just, to bring us to consciousness, I will say. I just wanted to say, King Charles and Queen Camilla were crowned over the weekend, and well, it's well known that Prince Charles had been talking about green issues and things for a long time before it became, you could say, popular or accepted, and so maybe he was ahead of his time, and some people are wondering, maybe now that he's the king, there's possibility of how can I say, new beginning. I don't know what word to use, a new path for us to move forward, now that he's sort of in a good position for that. So I just wondered if there was, is there any significance in that, Gregory? Just oh, you're on mute.
Well, have you finished? I was looking for you to finish.
Yes, I finished.
Well, whatever position someone has in a community, in a society, that particular personality can always influence others. If the influence or the influencing of others is in accordance with the laws of nature or the laws of creation, such that others will open up to these forces in nature, these forces in creation, then that becomes beneficial to all who have opened up. And therefore, that being the case, the one who first mentioned it, who directed our gaze to it,
on the topic of the inner longing of the soul or spirit. And and as usual, I like to finish with a reading from the GRAIL message, from the foreword, in fact, which is titled For Your Guidance. The bandage falls, and belief becomes conviction, liberation and redemption lie only in conviction. I am addressing earnest seekers only. They must be able and willing to examine this matter objectively. Religious fanatics and irresponsible enthusiasts may hold aloof, for they are detrimental to the truth. As for the malevolent and prejudiced, they shall find their center in the very words. The message will strike only those who still carry within them a spark of truth and the yearning to be true human beings. To all such it will become the shining light and staff. It will lead them unswervingly out of all the chaos of the present day confusion. The following word does not bring in your religion, but is intended as the torch to help all serious listeners or readers find the right path, which leads them to the longed for height. Only he who bestirs himself can advance spiritually. The fool who uses extraneous aids for this, in the form of ready-made opinions of others, only walks his path as if on crutches, while ignoring his own healthy limbs. But the moment he boldly uses all the abilities which lie dormant within him, awaiting his call to help in his ascent, he is employing the talent entrusted to him in accordance with his Creator's will, and will easily overcome all the obstacles that seek to divert him. Therefore awake. Genuine faith lies only in conviction, and conviction comes solely through an inflexible weighing and examining. See that you are truly alive in the wonderful creation of your God. Appreciation. So listeners, yes, just to remind you, if you want to get a copy of the GRAIL message or get more information on the GRAIL message, you can go to this website, which is www.grailmessage.com. I'll just spell that, www.grail, G-R-A-I-L, message, MESSAGE.com. Gregory, as I said, we come to the end of the show now. Anything you'd like to say to the listeners to say goodbye?
Wishing all listeners a very beautiful week.
Thank you. Yes, listeners, beautiful week from me too. We'll be back as usual next Tuesday, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. UK time with another topic. Take care. Good night. God bless.